Ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to ETF2L Season 50. We've made it all the way to Week 3, and Bloodsail Buccaneers here can be facing up against PINT Gaming. Initially coming into the season, I think I would have placed this as a bit of a bottom-tier game, for at least on PINT Gaming's side, but they've been proving themselves against some top teams to help us get along, or to get through this game, rather. We've got Ben PL stepping in. J-Max, unfortunately, exploded horribly. So Ben PL last minute in to replace him on camera, fighting through apparently the worst man flu of all time. And then Dave, who is not sick, is here on the mic with me. How are you doing?
I'm extremely healthy, thank you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. Should be a good one. As you say, points so far. Maybe not the kind of lower level team we were maybe expecting going into the season. They look pretty strong so far, despite, 2 losses isn't obviously what you want from your first 2 games, but it is against 2 of the strongest sides in the division. So, definitely some positives to bring from those losses, and, maybe this week will be a little bit easier. Bloodsail Buccaneers have had a reasonable start to the season as well, so I think it's quite well poised for an interesting game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we sort of we look at this sort of you look at this PINT Gaming roster, and I think sort of initially, and also the preseason scrims, weren't really telling us that this was a sort of team to be super excited about. There's a few new players on this team, Soki and Andy Dude on scouts, or I think at least Andy Dude, right, for a lot of people is kind of exciting. I think the soldier combo is pretty good. Smile and Warped. Warped is a very good player, and Smile, I think, also quite good. Alien Smiley there alongside on demo, has been playing demo and prem for ages. And then Patchouli coming in instead of Seeds, who's playing the majority of the preseason with these guys, has stepped up to the plate, and I think kind of seemingly unlocked something a little bit special within this team. They played a couple of really close games against the Maggots first week. Both of these teams, of course, and I have had the displeasure of playing against Witness, and I think that kind of shows in their standings at the table at the moment. But I think this is where both these teams are coming in, and they're really looking to take some points.
Yeah, I casted them in the week 1 game, I believe it was, against Witness, and they looked pretty strong overall. I mean, we kind of expected going into it that Witness would just completely destroy them, completely smash them, but it was pretty close overall gameplay-wise, and certainly Andy was someone who really showed up. Clearly they have him as their kind of spearhead, their pocket scout, who takes a lot of the heals, a lot of the Ubers, goes very aggressive and kind of propels the team forward. That's kind of the play style they're going for, modelled on what Thomas does on Witness himself. But yeah, they do look pretty strong, and the rest of the team, as you say, they're no mugs themselves. Even the ones with less prem experience are at least showing themselves to be pretty solid, and they don't look out of place by any means, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get some points here tonight.
Yeah, I think we're due for a very close game. Take a look at the maps as well that we have this season. I want the world to know that that Badlands from this week was an option, and PINT Gaming has immediately banned it, instantly taken away. And then also Metalworks banned away from Bloodsail Buccaneers. That means that we're playing Sunshine and we're playing Bagel tonight, both of these maps. Sunshines, we know, can produce a lot of very long, very close games, mostly focus on the long, I think, recently. But then Bagel as well. You kind of, it's much harder to stalemate on that map. And I think these are, when teams are close, I think both of these maps can get very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to... I mean, we've seen a lot of Sunshine already, I think, throughout this season. Seems to be the kind of standard map of choice at the moment that most of the Prem teams are favouring at the moment as kind of just a default kind of neutral map where everyone's kind of okay with it, so it just kind of gets through that pick ban process. Because, you want to... The way it works is you end up just getting rid of both of the maps that the teams don't favour to start with, and then you do get to pick, but you're picking 1 from 3, and teams seem to be liking Sunshine so far. And so far, I know it's regular season, and regular season tends to be a little bit faster in general than playoffs, but hasn't really been too slow. We've seen some pretty exciting gameplay so far on Sunshine, so hopefully that continues tonight.
Yeah, I think the big stinging point on Sunshine is that last point that can be so hard to break if holds are set up appropriately. I think you hit a certain level and these Sunshine holds just go on forever, right? I think it's something that we see for a long time. It takes a certain level of team to be able to appropriately break a last hold. Even pushing it on advantage on a map like this can be super hard. But of course, the easy solution for dealing with Sunshine loss is just wipe the enemy team on middle. And I think, like, at least for me personally, I really like the way the Sunshine middles play. I love the sort of going in through your cafe, rotating around, taking enemy side. I love the weird, like, messy situations you get at the end of mids where both teams are sat in the opponent valley with Ubers and they have to push forwards with an Uber charge even because there's players spawning behind them and stuff like that. I think that's all super fun to watch. That being said, guys, speaking of watching, we are done with pregame. Going live here. Once again, this is week 3 of ETF2L Season 50, brought to you by Manco Store. As the Bloodsail Buccaneers go up against Pint Gaming. We're here on map number 1 of Sunshine. We're going into the mid, Dave.
Yeah, and Alien Smiley and Mac get around the same kind of time. Alien Smiley at the moment just stuck in choke, takes a ton of damage forward. So he's going to have to wait for an arrow before he can now pressure forward. There's a big bomb in towards Eon. No damage down onto him just yet. At the moment, it looks like with Smile going down, they're probably going to have to evacuate here on Pint Gaming. We've got too many losses at the end of the day. They'll get Patchouli out there nice and safe, but having to give up the mid fight without too much real adventure to them.
Yeah, blinking you miss it. The mid-fight just completely over before it begins. Smile falls, and that's just so much space taken from the Bloodsail Buccaneers. Now, looking to push forwards here a bit aggressively on second, right? They had a slight pick advantage to work with, and Leth tried to go forwards. Just kind of picked off instead. Nicely countered there by Pint Gaming. So now we're setting up here on second, right? Even Ubers for both teams, as you said. Pint Gaming very nicely sort of stuffing their losses, making sure nothing terrible happened, stemmed the bleeding, and now even Uber's situation. So I think we're looking some kind of soldier stack. You can see Silver's already possessioning in around choke. Left is in cafe as well, but there's stickies all around everywhere. This soldier bomb might not be the easiest in the world.
Yeah, they're moving the heals around to every different entrance to find exactly where they want to move in from. Silv's just a little bit of a fake bomb in, but actually going to find Smile. He is baited into an aggressive spot, trying to chase down that frag on to Silv's. Now Sail has been traded out. Soki's gone down in the meantime, so 3 down here for Pint Gaming. They're going to have to once more evacuate without their combo. Getting to play the game very much at all so far.
That was a super weird push. He just kind of came in, just a sort of fake bomb from Silvs comes in, gets a lot of space done. They find that early kill. Now they're in onto loss. Actually found 2 as well. Alien Smiley dead. No Demo Man up. So much heavy lifting now has to be done by this heavy from Soki, who isn't quite on the point quite yet. It's Juno going in. Sticky's not quite there in time. I think at least for now, heavy from Soki managing to hold off the aggression. That's Bloodsail Buccaneers still keeping up the aggression. There's no proper loss setup. That means that they're going to go while they still can. Sail's onto the point. It's already down. Andy super low as well, but it's just Sail left in back on loss. I think he's dead. And finally push held off. Even Ubers, nothing was ever popped. But the point is really high up there in the cap time.
Yeah, Junior got the cap time originally, Sail got the cap time now on this second kind of mini push. They're not really super committed here, Bloodsail, but they are certainly pressuring. They are certainly turning the screws on their opponents right now, looking for just kind of any real mistake, but it's actually going to be Silvs will be the first casualty in this next little incursion, and that probably means they're just going to back up to a little bit of safety for a while. Maybe not. Actually, they're continuing to trade spam. They're continuing to try and muscle their way in. They're going to have to deal with a Pyro now over on Pint Gaming for Soki coming up on that Pyro class, which is pretty strong, I feel, on this top left side of Sunshine Last.
I'm surprised we're not seeing any off-classes here from the side of the Bloodsail Buccaneers, instead choosing to just stick completely to vanilla. You can see the soldier pressure they're really choosing to rely on is finding some kind of frags, but trading a soldier here is just not going to go anywhere near what you need in order to break this last hold. This Pyro does so much work in keeping this sentry gun protected. You can see how much positioning, though, that this warp kill does afford on the side of the Bloodsail Buccaneers. It's allowing Mac to go forward so many stickies onto the point that actually is going to force out the Uber. Alien is going to catch some pipes as well. This is huge damage damage onto Smile as well. That's just Sylves bombing in onto the point. And actually, that's the Buccaneers. They don't even have to pop an Uber to get it. Pop it at the end for logs. And that's really, really nice pressure there coming in onto last.
Yeah, really impressive. Just seeing that it was the Pyro, the Engineer, very, very static classes up on that left or right-hand side from their perspective. So they could just move their full combo in over the left, take their heals. They don't have to worry about Sniper because both the Scouts are occupied on other off-classes. So they just took the space and really just played it perfectly. Just nice, consistent pressure and eventually paid off.
Left super early in onto Smiley, gets called out by Mac, and this is once again such a tough middle for the Buccaneers to lose. I see it's an early aggression there in from Soki trying to salvage something, gets one kill onto Mac, and that's going to end the middle basically immediately now. However, this time around, Buccaneers much larger advantage. They can take mid already for free. That super early aggression there on it to Alien caught him completely off guard.
Yeah, saving grace for them was, of course, Andy and Patchouli getting out super quickly and having that scout speed, being able to run the medic out to safety nice and quickly. Junior's gone down. Maybe an opportunity to off-class. We'll have to see in another 10 seconds or so, but at the moment, very much stuck back on last year Point Gaming. A lot of them have been spending a lot of this game on the back foot, and doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, so Sakin coming in from Sylves. Quite fight the follow-up there on to Patchouli. His one rocket that doesn't quite hit the second. Nicely dodged, nicely surfed from Patchouli, and that's crisis averted. At least for now. Still no off-classes. I think Junu, Sail, both quite competent snipers, but just choosing to elect onto the scouts still. Pressure worked out for them last time. You can see them once again rotating over towards his right side area. It is Warped, standing pretty close, but he's going to get a lot of spam. Stickies, though, in a corner, looking to deny any kind of aggression coming in from lower here. Alien, but this is so far it's continued right side aggression. It is Mac being very aggressive in.
Exactly the same hold that was kind of broken quite quickly and quite easily last time by the Bloodsail Buccaneers. So Point Gaming, they certainly fancy themselves, they certainly practice themselves with this hold. They obviously have confidence in it. At the moment, this time Bloodsail are having a little bit of a harder time getting in through that left side. They've now got kind of two of those explosive classes rotated over. Alien's made it a little bit more free to cover it with stickies. He's certainly varying up where his sticky placement is going through, but at the moment Bloodsail not really chancing their hand with too much.
Instead, they're gonna put their eggs into the Junu sniper basket. Junu recently had a legacy video put out by Beta, and it was like 5 minutes of insane sniper highlights. This guy's very good at the class, and it's sort of what you need, right? You can see how good of a job Soki's doing denying any kind of projectile spam in onto the sentry gun. You're trying to break this last hold somehow. So far, Junu just kind of scoping up on top, waiting for some kind of over-aggression peek hit coming in from either Smile or Soki, but you can see now rotating over, you're going to see the Buccaneers try to take as much space as they can. So much space that they need for Junu to be able to get in a proper shot. This very quickly becomes a hero-type shot. You're trying to bait players across. It's already Sail getting in quite aggressively. Really nice rocket there from Smile, but instantly shut down now by a headshot. Sniper spotted. You can see Patchouli rotating over to a very tricky position here for the Sniper to get in on.
Yeah, Sail's gone down in the meantime, so it means they can't really super commit, and actually Junu's been absolutely exploded just as he was trying to peek in from that long angle. So taking out the Sniper dealt with that threat for now from Point Gaming's side of things. I mean, they're not going to move anywhere. They're stuck with the Pyro, they're stuck with the Engineer. They're certainly not pushing off one pick when they've got those classes up. So probably going to be thinking about a reset at this moment.
It's Junu opening the door there for Sylves, coming back on the man treads, obviously. Man treads meaning that you don't have gunboats, so you're going to take a lot of damage when jumping, but you do not get knocked back when you are in the air, which this could, in theory, allow Sylves to actually be able to get in some kind of bomb onto Patchouli. You can see now the Buccaneers trying to set up this play. Patchouli, once again, playing behind this pillar, trying to not get headshot, and it is a lot of damage there coming in from Warped and Alien. The bomb from Sylves come in, and it's completely unsuccessful, and there we go. This is now quite scary here for the Buccaneers, backing out all the way onto second, and it's a super early bomb onto Judo as well. Does manage to surf it out. Nice kill there onto Warped, but he is just taken down by Alien Smiley, and this is so much room now taken out of lust. That is a huge little pipe there from Alien Smiley. What a fight,
yeah. He was a loaded choke for quite a while. If they'd really committed on him, he definitely would have gone down, but he definitely trusted himself and it does get a nice little frag for it, and it's continuing to pressure forward now. Oh, with a couple of players though going down here for a point, they're going to have to back up. The bomb is in, it is Silves, finds the frag onto Alien Smolly with the rockets. Patchouli is nice and out of there. The chase is still on for Sale, taking the beam forward, chasing down Andy as well, so once more Point Gaming stuck back on their last.
This is a really scary position now for PINT Gaming here. You're down 2 players, and it's not an Uber advantage, but it's such a player advantage here for the Buccaneers, rather. But this Uber from Smile doing a great job, sort of denying the further aggression, taking down the demo of Mac. He's going to find a third, maybe onto the Scout as well. Quite hit the air shot rocket there onto the Scout, but he's just going to keep going forwards. Smile really feeling himself right now, but you have to watch out. Bit of over aggression maybe is an early kill there onto Smile. The side of the Buccaneers, they're just going to run it back out, allow Alien to take the space, and I think maybe the cleanup kill onto Silves is straight back into Warped, and now suddenly the Buccaneers want to go in anyway. There's a lot of damage that you can take walking through choke. If you have a counter Uber to come forwards, they're down 2 players, it doesn't matter, but now pressure's really on them, right? There's about 40% advantage. You kind of have to make this work, wait for your soldiers, you have 1 shot to send it in, and they're not holding off at all. They're in onto last already.
Continuing to walk in, just only popping now, made so much ground without using that Uber the whole time through second. Now the cap time is starting to come in, both scouts dancing around the cap. There's a heavy weapons guy out, but he's not going to be able to block it, and Junu just stands on top of the point and claims the second round.
Super nice decisive play there from the Buccaneers, coming in just straight away, right? They find those frags. The Uber of Smile is decent to hold off the players, but just doesn't find enough frags. A slight overcommittal as well means you lose players in the fight, and the Buccaneers, they just kind of pounce, right? Super aggressive play in onto last before any kind of setup can come through. Heavy not in position to block players where he actually needs to, and so the Uber fades. Mac dies early, but it doesn't matter. There's too many players just on the point. Back onto mid we go. This time around, Alien's learned his lesson. He is not playing choke anymore.
Yeah, Mac has been afforded a lot more space. Getting isolated now, Alien's actually just Wing in on him, takes him out. Eon's gone down in the meantime from the bomb from Smile as well. Puchuli is also a casualty, but it looks like the cluster of red PINT Gaming players are going to come out on top for now. There's still a little bit of a scrap. Silves has been spotted in flowers behind. He's going to try and bait a scout back
Sail?
to duel with Sail.
Sail in a 1v3 doesn't quite win it, unfortunately, just finds the 1 kill onto Soki. I really like the response there from PINT Gaming, choosing to just straight up just aggress into the enemy team instead, and it really worked for them super well. It was a late bomb in from, I believe it was left, below getting forwards, getting that late kill onto Patchouli, which means that now the Ubers are basically reset. But it is PINT Gaming walking away with position onto the mid, and that should be the Buccaneers moving out now. Still 18 minutes left on the clock here, Dave, and that means that, yes, you're down 2-0, but there's a lot of time here to work with.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a small ad for the Bloodsail Buccaneers. I mean, I don't think they're going to really press it. They don't need to when they're 2-0 up. As you say, there's a decent amount of time to come back, but probably not really worth taking the risk. They probably don't know exactly how much ad it was. It was up to about 20, but even that is kind of difficult to push on a lot of these 5CP maps. So, I mean, at the moment, they're just going to chill. It's evened up now. They're just... I mean, this is really the first time we've seen Bloodsail back in a defensive position. They've lost the mid-fight. They're on second. What can PINT Gaming do to break it open?
For the moment, it's Smile setting it. It's super aggressive. And actually, Soki going down. The health bars on the side of PINT Gaming are so low as to try to send in some aggression, trying to take control of lower, but unfortunately, completely backfires in their face. Now it's just Sail Wing forwards. 2 shots on to Andy Dude, and that means that now on middle, Patchouli is in a really bad way. Scout in his face has to pop this Uber, and it's a disaster. No one really there to support at all. You just have to use this Uber to run away, and suddenly now Eon. Massive advantage here onto middle. This is Bloodsail Buccaneers able to continue pressuring this forwards.
Yeah, they've got 2 picks. They've got full Uber ready to go as well. It's going to be a while before Patchouli's anywhere near his. Smile's just providing a little bit of resistance, trying to bait some players forward, but they're eating up the ground in front of them. They know that there's no real threat other than maybe a sticky here or there. All of those have been defused. Looks like they're going to come in from under here.
Now, Uber popped in straight away, and it's an early kill there. Coming in forwards onto the gun. Now, heavy up as well. Just gonna get shut down as a soldier bombing around. Finding one kill onto Sylves is fine, but look at the point taken on, or the space taken on point rather already. So much cap time. So the Soaky Heavy does come out. They're doing a decent job of keeping players back. It's so enticing to try and go forwards onto this point, but this is such a healthy Heavy, and he's so hard to bomb. So he's managed to hold on, and that means with Eon dying as well, this is a counter Uber coming forwards. 4-Pint Gaming, they're looking to push this across. Warped is super far in. Does manage to get that kill onto Mac, and it's going to stave off a lot of aggression. But this is a full Uber advantage. You have to be so careful with. You take a wrong fight here, you lose the fight. Your medic dies, the Uber doesn't do anything, and Pint Gaming, they just lose another point here.
Yeah, they're committing the Uber onto Andy. He's going to chase Sylves down in that cafe area, but I think that's just about all they're going to find. I mean, left bloke here behind has been spotted out, has been isolated, and now has been fragged. So 2 picks for them to work with. It's still a while before Ian's going to be anywhere near his Uber, so they've got to make it count. Warp now in with a bomb, just going to take up on the bell tower, take up the high ground, spam coming down to that choke point. So Bloodsail have been forced out. They're rotating at the moment, still not quite up at Uber, so reasonable position here for Pint Gaming.
It's looking completely fine for them, right? They're sort of sat back, have not a massive Uber disadvantage either to work with. You can see the Buccaneers are being decently aggressive though, however, trying to move forwards while they can. But this is a soldier caught out in onto Flowers, and that's going to allow Warp to get in behind. Now you can start picking this team apart as he can just sort of sit back, force the cap. You have to go back and clean him up. Warp not quite finding the rockets there onto the scout, but he's doing enough, just forcing the rest of the Buccaneers into a really awful position here, opening the door for the rest of his team. Come forwards now. Uber's traded across here onto Andy and on to Juno, as both of the Ubers just kind of fading already, but Andy just barely manages to find a decent shot onto Mac. No further real kills being found. It's just one kill, cleanup kill onto the side of Pint Gaming, as they are losing health bars, but truly cleaned up. No position sort of acquired at all. That means that the Buccaneers, for now, stay alive, and they're going to take the middle here relatively for free. They can keep pushing. Also, there's no medic up. This is really scary for Pint.
Yeah, really nice from the Bloodsail Buccaneers, just playing nice as a cohesive unit, playing as a blob, making sure they're not getting pulled apart. You know, the flank came in, the double backup was on, but they didn't overextend. They stayed together as a team. They just focus right the same players, and they just continued to be really strong. They cleaned up. They ended up winning that Uber trade at the end of the day, and now they're in a nice position to utilize this Uber advantage to claim a 3rd round.
One sniper up for Soaky here is going to try to eliminate the Uber before it deals any major damage. Uber straight in onto Mac, who just gets shut down instantly there by Alien. Really nice pipe onto him, and now Soaky can do a lot of work with his heavy. Still one scout in, and he's just barely not going to get cleaned up there. No, never mind. It's Juno taking a lot of damage. In return is Alien as well, playing this really aggressively, but that's such a nice job there. Unfortunately for the Buccaneers, losing your demo man instantly kind of loses you that last push. So now, big advantage swinging across onto the side of Pint Gaming. But we've now spent a decent amount of time swinging these advantages back and forth. No team really having the opportunity or really successfully managing to trade the advantage fully across. Headshot does not come through from Juno. And yep, we're backed off. Everything's fine. We're chilling.
Yeah, neither team has really been super on the chase. They haven't been super fast in their transitions as well. At the moment, it looks like Bloke trying to just shut down that aggression from Cafe. He gets spotted out. He couldn't fade away enough. There's a heavy in the forward spot. Gets a little bit of damage down onto Patchouli, but I don't think it's going to force him out. They've managed to get their Uber up here, Bloodsail, but they have been pushed all the way back to last in the meantime. So now it's their chance to defend.
Yep, Uber just comes straight in. Really nice rockets there from Warp in on to the enemy Mac there, just completely shutting him down. Now Sentry Gun somehow still alive. This Pyro's doing a lot of work, but Alien finding another frag there. Once again, in just straight onto the Sentry Gun. This heavy, it's so hard to take down. We are instead just going to sit back, Sylves trading forwards. And the more kills you give onto Pint Gaming, the more that they can sort of come back in. This heavy's only so good for so long, as if you give the enemy team enough positioning, they can just kind of spam him down. But it looks like trading Soaky there as well is going to spell the end of the aggression, at least for now. So even Ubers, Pint Gaming can continue pressuring, but they do not have themselves around quite yet.
Yeah, it's decent pressure from Pint, just coming through that left side. They found a lot of space, found a lot of position, but couldn't quite focus enough damage down and couldn't quite find the frags they required to really hit that W key and continue the forward momentum. There is,
Oh my
Bloke,
God.
he was in a position there. He does get the foresight of Patchouli nice and cheaply, despite being surrounded by just a sea of red gamers. Gets basically that force for free, and
Oh, wait, what?
maybe not.
What's happening? Wait, Soki just like runs in as well. Super nice play there from Warped as well. He was just in no man's land. Somehow manages to turn that into a kill onto Mac. And then the counter aggression from the rest of his team comes in super well coordinated onto Eon, forcing out that Uber. Don't get around, but this has now completely set their advantage. The advantage back in their favor, right? Patchouli now, 60% Uber, building it up already. Sail building the sentry gun as fast as they can. This is a sniper up as well. You know what that means. Juno really fancying out one-shot opportunity. Doesn't have time to set up any sort of major hold because you know that this push is going to come in so fast. 70% for Eon already. You have one shot here for PINT.
Yeah, super hard building there, coming in through under once more. It's onto the scout Andy. The chase bloke down in the flank area, but the Uber is up eminently for Eon. The still pyro from Juno on the point is just reflecting its stuff away. Eventually does get taken down by Andy as well. The Uber is now out for the Bloodsail Buccaneers. They're just going to stick a heavy weapons guy on the point and chase everyone out. I mean, they've only got, well, they got a second frag now onto Warp. Sylves is still in a nice position. The re-aggression coming in though. Alien Smiley's dancing around the point. Bomb in from Sylves and gets a pickaxe kill onto Patchouli. And I think that will probably signal the exit from PINT Gaming.
That was so close and so messy, that fight. Oh my God, I think you're right. That salvage pickaxe kill from Sylves in onto Patchouli manages to stave off the aggression. And once again, Ubercharge advantage has flipped 60% now for Eon, but it's about 2 minutes left on the round timer before we go back to another mid-fight. The Buccaneers are just kind of barely holding on. Now gonna have to deal the sniper out of Andy, dude. Fancying sort of one final shot, but you don't have a lot of time to set up this sniper play. It is just the Buccaneers sitting back on last. They had Sylves up on Spy. They're gonna know that the sniper is up as well. And Andy dude now, his job is so hard. He gets a couple opportunities for the hero shot, and he has to make this work.
Yeah, more or less an identical hold to the one we saw PINT Gaming using as well on their last. At the moment, actually it's kind of coordinated spam, all three explosive clutches focusing down on that right side. Just allowing that kind of pyro to reflect stuff. I mean, finds the space there, there we go!
Huge shot there from Andy, just waiting. So much aggression coming forwards, but you commit so much to getting that shot onto Eon, but you just barely managed to make it work. The opening frag in onto left as well is huge, but that shot from Andy just sends PINT Gaming straight into a round on the board. It's one soldier left. He gets cleaned up, full team wiped, and there we go. 8 minutes left onto the clock, and PINT Gaming respond just finally. What a
Crazy
shot.
stuff. I believe they checked it with the spy, so they knew there was a sniper. They focused all their eggs down, just spamming that one kind of opening, but it was just really well made. Space was produced in front of him, and then once you find that space, you need your sniper to hit the shot, and there we go. That's what he did, and brought themselves back to within a round now.
We are once again looking at Alien and never going back to choke after what happened to him the first couple of minutes. This time around, you can see once again super early aggression onto the enemy cafe there from Sylves, trying to sort of dissuade the enemy team away from the high ground, but it's just not working very well. The Buccaneers are sort of sat back on low ground. They have two soldiers shoved in behind. Really finding that much damage. Instead, it's just a committal straight in from Warped onto Eon, onto Sail, and they are just trying to keep their own medic alive, successfully at least for now. Still 3 up, and there's a lot of players all around the place. So Patchouli's just gonna bunker up in Cafe for now, but this is a scary situation with the Demo Man still up, but it's a kill onto Juno, onto Bloke, and that's going to mean that Mac has to back off. Huge advantage for Patchouli, and PINT Gaming now, big opportunity to tie this round up.
Yeah, really nicely played. Warp just going onto the point and finding a nice little kind of cute kind of short bomb straight onto Eon. And there we go. Eon's up now on the crit screen, so we'll have that a little bit quicker than he would Uber, but it is going to be a big chunky Uber advantage for PINT Gaming here, looking to equalize things.
Yeah, this crits is only going to do stuff in the post-Uber. You can see Alien taking this Uber, going straight in onto the gun, has to take it down immediately. Now, Heavy's going to come up in respawn timers. No one else is really dying. Onto the side of the Buccaneers is actually Smile taken down first, traded across 4 left, but that's a laser beam Heavy coming out onto the point, dealing a lot of damage, but he's not finding any frags. Instead, it's the cap time coming forward here, Warped alone onto the point. And that means that now PINT Gaming, with 6 minutes left, they're going to tie us up, and we are now 2-2.
Yeah, didn't think you could hide from laser beams, but you know, if you put yourself behind a little metal girder, that is just about enough to get away from it. And as you said, the focus fire down onto the medic, you know, Kritzkrieg, obviously vulnerable to just having your medic fragged in the middle of it, so only a couple of seconds of crits, wasn't able to clutch it. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest push by any means by PINT Gaming, but it was successful. So here we go, now very, very much game on as we move into a fifth mid fight.
Yeah, this is now all to play for here. Mac once again playing his own valley area. Smart just kind of bombing around. There's an early kill into Sylves here. There's another soldier in behind as well as left. Has to get a pack, and that means he's quite low. Warped on the high ground, just gets taken down by the spam from Junu. No one really successfully claiming much high ground at all. Huge rocket there in from left onto Alien, and that's going to trade out immediately also from Smile. 4 up for the side of PINT though, and that means they have no positioning on point. It's just one Smile left in through choke, and he's gonna have to fight off against the fully buffed scout. I hope he runs away there. It's not the best.
Yeah, they're trying to stay in this forward spawn kind of area, quite deeply committed, not really threatening players bombing in behind at the moment. They're happy to just take an Uber straight into their opponent's faces. Got a lot of damage out onto Mac, but the flashes do come in clutch from Eon just about in time. Junu's popped up in the air as well, a lot of damage coming down onto him. I mean, Andy taking most of that Uber solo was able to force a lot of flashes and ended up coming just about the better of it, even in the situation out.
Yeah, so now it's even Ubers for both sides, right? But it's PINT Gaming sat back on their second, and it is so hard to sack in onto mid. You have to feel that I think the only real opportunity to break this kind of stalemate we have for now is just the Buccaneers trying to keep the aggression up. They're going to keep trying to pressure cook their way into some kind of a pick, but it's such a treacherous situation here, so dangerous. So if you lose any players, suddenly PINT Gaming have an advantage they can play off of. It's 4 minutes left, and now the round reset is just an impossibility at this point. You have to sort of make this work in regulation time or take it to a golden cap if you're okay with 2 points, right? But this is now the Buccaneers trying still, sending in Sylves a little bit far forwards, going for the fake bomb once again, but no one falling for the bait this time. Instead, it is a very aggressive Junu, just barely escaping 4 HP, but Soki manages to find that trade kill onto Sylves.
Yeah, with an extra player now, they can maneuver themselves forward to try and find some kind of opening. A nice little bomb from Warped is going to land on top of Mac. He's been focusing quite a lot the whole game, but this time it doesn't come to anything, and Mac is now the one putting himself in this cafe area with the beam on top of him, just spam down. Junu is now supporting him, maybe just a little bit of a bait, thinking about where they can throw a soldier, which direction they want to exactly pressure from. Rotating back to choke at the moment, and here comes the bomb. It is actually really deep. Oh, and it finds a force.
That's a really, really huge first rocket. Does so much damage to Patchouli. Forces him to surf it awkwardly as well, and it makes the follow-up rocket just a piece of cake for left. Patchouli, no choice but to pop, and this is now huge advantage for the Buccaneers, who are not waiting for left to spawn up. Instead, they're all in cafe, have to send it forwards, and they do find 2 early kills onto Andy Dude and onto Warp. But if you are PINT Gaming, you take that trade any day of the week. Uber now eliminated, but you're still down 2 players. It's 10-second respawners here, and that means the Buccaneers, they can still keep pressuring. Huge pipe there in onto Patchouli, so low. Has to back off into the respawn here. The heavy's finally coming up from Soki, trading off 2 as Junu's still alive. In the respawn queue, I say. Junu died. I don't know why I said he's still alive. But, yeah, and never mind. The Heavy's alive. He did a good job. Back there and off. It's fine. But truly massive advantage. No, it's even.
Yeah, I mean, they had 2-player advantage there for sure, Bloodsail Buccaneers, but one of them was capping, and they just tried to muscle everyone in through the same entrance. Doesn't really work just yet. They still have control of the second point, so they still have this ideal launch pad which to pressure forward. As you say, Ubers are very, very much even. They're going to come up at Uber basically exactly at the same time here. Looking to maneuver themselves in through the left side. Actually, Bloke once more in with the solar bomb. Nice shot onto Warps. He's eventually claimed by Solar as well. There's cap time coming in from Solar as well. He's got very, very low. The cap is super, super close. And it's just the spam at the moment.
They didn't use their either. That is, like, psychopathic not to use, and that means that now Mac is actually just going to get that kill onto the Heavy as well. So Uber does come out now for Andy Dude there, just trying to take it forward, but he's not finding the shots, and that means his counter Uber is going to come out so much later. Now Patchouli falling, and I feel like you just had to pop that way earlier. This is giving the Buccaneers so much space to play with. The point almost capped, and it is Mac all over it. Not quite finding the pipes, though. He finds one decent damage coming across, but PINT Gaming still somehow in it for now, but I think this medic just might be able to heal his team to victory, as Leth is going to clean up another one. It's just Soki left onto the point, but he doesn't have a health point anymore. That's it. Bloodsail Buccaneers, 50 seconds left to play, and a nail biter on Sunshine are going to take this 3-2.
Wow, yeah, really, really nice stuff. Just consistent pressure. Got so much spam down after that initial kind of aggression coming in from Sail, just running on top of the point. As you say, force them out. I think they, Patchouli especially, just overextended a little bit, just wanting to trade that Uber out. And you know, I thought for a second PINT were going to hold on. They certainly made a decent grasp of that team fight, but didn't quite come through. And as you say, the healing from Eon was crucial.
Yeah, I just have to feel like, once again, like they held on, both teams held on to their Ubers for so long there at the end of that fight, and I think Patchouli choosing to not pop it, letting his heavy get spammed out, just opened the door for the Buccaneers to come in and really sort of take those picks that allowed them to convert into a last push a little bit later on. I feel like he just popped onto that heavy, kept him alive. He would have forced some kind of counter pop from the Buccaneers, because they were also so low, right? It tipped the balance is just in their favor, and I think unfortunately for that, means that they end up losing that map. But yeah, now I think very, very close, right? Really came down to the nitty-gritty at the end there. And yeah, commiserations. That was a really close game there from PINT.
Yeah, I mean, really good from both teams, I have to say. Lots of impressive stuff. And I was impressed with how, especially Bloodsail, played it. They had so many moments where they just looked super composed. Certainly, you know, some standout moments from PINT where they really got going and they really had momentum. They looked solid, but overall, Bloodsail probably the slightly superior team on that map. I guess we can look at some numbers here. And once more, Andy seems to be just really tearing it up in Prem at the moment.
Yeah, Andy having a pretty good debut here. Playing the pocket scout role quite well. I think there was a few Ubers you maybe could have wished for sort of a couple more meat shots, but that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles at some point. I feel like sort of, you look at these logs, Dave, I'm not going to lie, most of them scream like, you know, Sunshine game. Besides Smile, I wasn't really like on the Smile camp that much, but this guy just like dropped a bunch of nukes. Oh my, that's a big damn.
That's significantly more damage than any with this server. That was crazy. I mean, as you said, we weren't focused that much on him. He didn't seem to be having gigantic impact, but whatever he was doing, he was really getting rewarded with a ton of damage and consistently coming through for his team. Wasn't quite enough on that first map, but who knows, maybe Bagel might be different. And yeah, based on what we saw earlier on in the season against Witness, I think this PINT Gaming roster, they seem to really like this map, and they seem like they have some good ideas of exactly how to play it.
Yeah, very nice. I think you're sort of looking back, I think just a little bit, right? Like even in their game that the PINT Gaming played against the Maggots last week, they made the Sunshine game super close, ended up being a 2-3 once again. I think maybe if we're facing off in a season where the Maggots are like one of these teams where they're like almost there, or PINT Gaming rather, where they're like almost there but just not quite, it's it gets a bit sad, right? So they're gonna hopefully be looking to buck the trend. I think now we're going onto a map like Bagel where it is completely like, you know, like the gameplay is so different, is what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's obviously a different game mode. You don't have to deal with the transitions the same way you do in 5CP. You know, you obviously have to deal with. I mean, the spawns is a big thing. When you have the point, you spawn a lot slower. When you don't have the point, you spawn quicker. So it allows you to do kind of more aggressive plays and really chance your hand. But possibly what stands out often the most on this map, I think, is exactly how the forward hold is both kind of implemented by the teams when they have significant advantages, and also, you know, how you go about breaking it, particularly as, you know, the thing with this map is you can set up this forward hold, you know, even when you have uber disadvantages, you can set it up often with one of your playstyle, probably not your demo man, but like maybe even like a scout down. You can set it up in kind of a lot of situations, and they always play out like slightly differently, and exactly how you want to, throw the dice in terms of breaking it can be. There are a lot of variations, but it is kind of the central point of this map, in my experience.
Yeah, I think recently it's kind of it's fallen into a place now where the playstyle is sort of decidedly different from our other Koth map of product, right? Where like product is sort of way more scout centric. This map really, as you say, it's about being able to set up that forward hold, and it really starts with your soldiers and your scouts on the flank just trying to set up control of each of these houses. And there's sort of the flank 1v1s that go on in there so crucial for the rest of the map and how it sort of flows back and forth. But I think another really big difference is that this map has turned into. I think this might be a bit of a consequence of the fact that Lucas is on Witness. Like, there is a real strat for a lot of the top teams where this map becomes give your demo like 40% heals and tank him up and let him sit behind the point and he can just shoot out free damage onto the enemy combo. And the map becomes a game of which demo sort of does the most damage to the enemy combo, right? Like, and has a flank alive in the sort of side flank houses, be able to come in, capitalize off of the damage taken. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is in the beginning when this map first started being played in Europe. This was like you'd cast this map and it'd be a 40-minute mid fight every time. But now it's turned a bit slower, and I kind of like the pacing that we get on this map. It's a little bit less chaotic than we see on product.
Yeah, definitely. I think the teams are they're a little bit more familiar. I think they're a little bit more comfortable in general as well with this map. A lot of the teams have played it a lot more over the last few seasons, so it's starting to really kind of get into a sweet spot where they kind of know, everyone kind of knows how to play it. No one's like super uncomfortable, and it leads to just a high level of gameplay across the board. And I think in the past we've seen a lot of times on this map it can be kind of very swingy one side or the other. Like a lot of times, a team will kind of win a 5CP map, and then they'll come over to this map and it will just completely flip, reverse the other way. They'll get completely shut out 3-0, like barely doing anything, barely getting caps down. So, I mean, from what I've seen of Point Gaming, they seem to really embrace this map, and let's hope it leads to a really good contest, because I mean, certainly that first map was.
Yeah, I think one other thing we can really watch out for here is this is not a map where you typically see a lot of off classes, but what you will do, especially on teams with Mac on it, he really likes the crits on this Bagel, especially. We saw it come out of Eon once, sort of on the sort of emergency last hold, right, with the enemy team on full Uber. Didn't quite work out, but on a Bagel, a fully charged crit sticky can do so much work. And we've seen it a few times already in seasons past. This is a map where if your medic does die on middle, coming back up on that surprise crit can get really scary really fast. And I know that Mac loves himself a bit of crits.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they go for that. It can be risky, but I think, as you say, when the time, if the timing is right and it does come up as a surprise, it can be big. Because as you say, this isn't a map we're expecting to see off classes. I don't think any of them off classes are particularly strong. I mean, I think some of the low devs have seen some heavy on this map, but that's about it. A sniper, there's not really great sight lines for him, so probably not going to see much sniper. I mean, spy is a bit of a gimmick, maybe, if you're really struggling to break the forward hold, but the other thing is, it means you're probably not checking the 4 off classes that much either, from either side. So maybe that gives more of a scope for you to bring out something like the crit switch. On a different map, the spy would be checking much more consistently for.
Yeah, we'll have to see sort of the amount of shenanigans with that we end up getting on this map. But honestly, I think sort of judging from that map, I think we're due for sort of beyond random crits plays on the blue side from the Bloodsail Buccaneers. We are due for pretty sort of standard state of affairs. I'm really looking to see how the sort of Smile and Warped combo can match up against Sylves and Leth, because to be honest, I think even just in pure name value, I would probably, especially after the performance that Smile gave us that last map on Sunshine, I'd probably be favoring myself a little bit of a Pike Gaming Soldier duo here.
Yeah, certainly, this world having a lot of damage, especially, and continues on to this map could be really nice. I think, as you say, it's not so much, you're not seeing kind of double bombs as much on a map like this. It's often, at least one of your soldiers is often super committed to just fighting on the flank, controlling those houses for large periods of the map, but also, finding the chance to weave in the odd sack here and there, finding the opportunity, finding the space is what really kind of separates the best soldiers from just the guys who are sitting in the houses on this map.
Yep, I agree. One sort of final thing I guess we can talk about a little bit is just kind of the scout dynamics on this map, right? Like, it's sort of weird because I think at least initially you look at it when you're making a modern map in TF2, you're trying so hard to make it not scout favored. But I think this map ultimately, in the end, right, this is where soldiers and demos really shine. Scout has to take a bit of a back roll, but they're so crucial in helping their teams line up those frags on the flanks. But once again, this is ETF2L Season 50, Week 3. Brought to you by Manco Store. We are on map number 2 here of Bagel between the Bloodsail Buccaneers, taking it just barely against PINT Gaming on map number 1 of Sunshine. On to the middle we go, and it's early spam from Smile and no early committals across.
Yeah, Junior was AFK for 10 seconds at the start of the mid-fight, but it doesn't really matter because basically 12 players have been AFK. Not really much has happened just yet. Just feeling each other out for now. Warped is thinking about exactly where he wants to do at the moment, just spamming down, allowing Mac a bit of space towards the point. They're trying to get their beam forward onto Junior, onto Mac. Actually, the captain coming in from Andy at the moment. He's the one really with his foot forward, getting pressure down on the cap. But at the moment, it's literally just spam either way.
Yeah, this is I think the new meta on this Bagel map is that you set up your demo on either side and you just kind of let them spam across, see who wins. The Uber trade now coming out, but no real damage found on either side, no real position gained on either side either. It's just PINT Gaming maintaining control. Juno rolls down to 50 HP, but it's Alien Smiley who manages to sit proud onto this point here as the aggression comes across, but this is now a demo down, taken down by Andy. It is Soki cleaned up as well. Really nice bomb there, bow rather, from Eon onto the enemy scout, as it is going to allow the Buccaneers to take control of the point, but it is going to give Soki a very fast respawn. This is really sort of strange positioning here from the side of Patchouli, taking a lot of damage. Eon, though, similarly, very weird positioning, and it's going to eat a sticky to his face as Alien Smiley bombs in Hail Marys and takes out the enemy medic.
Yeah, I don't know how Warps didn't find that, but either way, Alien Smiley comes through and finds the damage required to finish off that medic, and now give Patchouli a big, chunky 90% Uber advantage here. They've had to give up the point for a bit of it, but the sack is now in, and actually Warped goes super low. I think Patchouli was all the way back in spawn, it looked like, really just hiding, expecting a sack probably from the opponents. Maybe they've been demo reviewing it.
Yeah, really sitting back there onto the pack-in lobby, making sure that no one can really get to him, and the rest of his team very nicely clearing up. That means it is going to allow PINT Gaming to set up a bit of a forward hold. You can see the stickies already coming out of Mac, so make sure that the enemy stickies from Alien aren't too aggressive and too compromising here in lobby. But this is a difficult last hold, or sort of forward hold rather, to break, as Mac is going to have to spam his way out of it. You want to sack in your soldiers, but look at them getting bounced around by the explosives. Ulef does manage to go forward, deal a lot of damage to everyone on the red side, but they have Uber still, and they're holding strong as well. Super low. Mac is going to have to back off, and I wonder, traditionally now, this is where you'd start to see some kind of a pyro coming up, trying to air blast the spam away out of the enemy team, but instead it looks like just the Buccaneers are going to try to stay up on their normal classes, but time is slowly ticking down here for them.
Yeah, at the moment it's only Alien on the kind of concrete side, completely looking to shut down that one side. Though actually, Ubers have been traded out. Julius kind of been sold out, just chasing forward. Is going to get found out now. Warp's been traded in the meantime. The bomb is in there with a Smile. Almost finds a rocket shot into Mac, and actually Mac runs into Andy, who's on the chase as well. Gets an arrow just about in time, and Andy is cleaned up. So beautiful defensive play, keeping that demo man alive. Mac just doing the best job and followed up by a really nice arrow from Eon, and that really what should have been a demo going down, it should have been them on the back foot. Now they can propel themselves forward.
It's a really nice surf from Patchouli, but unfortunately he eats the pavement at the end of it. And that means that now medic advantage completely disappears. Patchouli has to, or Eon rather, has to back out quite extensively though. This is a lot of enemy gamers just in onto the enemy point, but they barely don't get the cap. Keeping it off for now to ensure that the earlier spawn does come out from Alien. As the enemy team now respawning as well. But this is still timer advantage here for the side of a PINT Gaming. They're going to set back up. Bloodsail Buccaneers moving forwards. Uber instantly popped there from the bomb out of warp. It's going to get cleaned up, and this is Mac getting quite aggressive, but only taking 2 there with this Uber. This is completely fine. Smile behind, not able to find the kill into left, but this is still now Patchouli 50% advantage, and you can work with this.
Yeah, they're going to count this accurately here, Bloodsail. They're going to know exactly where they want to position at the moment. Looks like they're just happy to play as aggressive on the forward hold as possible. Not too worried about that Uber that is coming up imminently for PINT Gaming. At the moment, they're just going to move, pushing through this right side. Uber will be here shortly. Smile breaking through that forward hold. And looks like they've brought themselves out to this right side, ready to go.
It's a really nice early kill there from Mac, though, onto Warp. It's going to slow down this push a decent amount. Instead, it's just Patchouli setting the scout solo in through the house, and is Andy sort of snaking around, trying to get some sort of frag going, but he disconnects from his medic, and that means that he just might fall, just doesn't quite get out in time, and this is a lot of damage onto Sail. However, Alien Smiley, quite aggressive, but no scouts really there to follow up his aggression, and now Eon has a counter. Uber rocket squarely planted at his feet, but it doesn't matter because we're paused, Dave.
Yeah, I didn't really like how PINT did that. They just kind of took that Uber super deep. I think they were never really going to find that medic frag in that Uber. You know, he was all the way back, you know, through that choke, almost all the way back in his own spawn with a sea of players around him. Mac himself had been isolated and was an easy frag if the team was following up, but it was just kind of the 2 men. It was just the deep scout Uber. Team wasn't really in a position to make the most of it, and the PINT Gaming, you know, they have a bit of a time advantage here, but certainly not the best implemented Uber.
Yeah, so now we on pause. The HUD's going to be a little bit broken, at least for the moment. There's an Uber coming forwards there onto Juno. It's not actually going to find that much. It's 1 kill into Warp, but that's completely fine if you are PINT Gaming. It's a 1 kill on to Smile, which is kind of okay. Mac is doing an excellent job, however, of stuffing the enemy combo just in onto this corner, taking so much damage. And this is an Alien Smiley caught out as well. No Demo Man is going to allow the timer to slowly run out here for the Buccaneers, as we are just completely, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what the timers are left, but it is Wolf and Smile getting 2 further frags. There's aggression coming onto Mac now, and he's alone.
Yeah, 20 seconds to 7. It's still going to be basically coming down to one big fight. As you say, Mac has gone very low. Finally, an arrow comes through for him. Bloke goes down in the meantime, but it looks like just these PINT Gaming players, they're all together. They're all fighting across the point. They've found Silves and Mac as well. And just about just staying together and moving forward as a unit is enough. They take the point, they take the round.
Yeah, seizing control there at the very end and making it sure they get that cap, and that is just 7 seconds left. They managed to stave off the push as well. Nobody there on the side of the Buccaneers to really keep themselves onto the point, and that means the first round, this time around, first blood, or rather second blood, I don't know, yeah, second blood for the side of PINT Gaming, as this is where the pause unpause happen. As now we're back on mid, everything's fine. Team spamming across, nothing weird sort of happening so far.
Team once more taking any early risks, just feeling themselves out. A couple of players committed through this left flank house. At the moment it's going to be Sail along with Silves, I believe, just putting themselves to try and find a little bit of space, to try and find maybe an opportunity for Silves to go in for some kind of bomb. Scrapping across the point now. Juno just going to take this Uber in. Going to be traded out. A lot more flashes on point, but they did use a little bit later, so it's not going to be the end of the world. But throughout the meantime of that, Bloodsail Buccaneers have got a lot of cap time. They'll actually be able to take the cap with just a single frag.
Yeah, it's a really nice sort of set of spam rockets there from left as well, in onto that house, getting a kill onto Soki, and that's going to completely dissuade most of the aggression here for the side of Pint Gaming. Now forced to reckon back in onto the sort of right side area, but they're eating a lot of spam here. Mac with control onto the point can keep sending stickies forward as Smile tries to regress into house, who's going to take a lot of punishment to do so.
They themselves now are thinking about just applying a little bit of cap pressure, putting the beam on the demo man, but so much spam comes down onto Andy and Alien at the same time. Can't both be healed up in the same second, and it is going to be Andy going down, and now it's suddenly falling apart very quickly as we do pause right in the middle of a bloke bomb.
Yep, this is Leth doing his very best Leth and MGE impression, which means no crouch ever pressed. I actually think, as much as I like to make fun of him for that, I think in this situation it's probably fine. Even though the scout's not looking at him when you're crouching, you do get knocked back further when you're hit by damage in the air. So sometimes penciling is good. This I think when you're trying to bomb in onto Patchouli, there's a pocket scout directly underneath you is one of those situations where you probably would want to not be crouching. But Leth very much is kind of levitating, and then if you press spacebar once, Ben, then you can see that he's sort of wiggling around, and it's really funny. Okay, you have different binds. Never mind. There we go. See, this is his planet needs him.
The ultimate pencil of dominance, to be honest. Just coming in. I mean, this is just beautiful opportunity. Warped is completely out of the fight, so low Smile as well, just completely evacuating. Does fade away actually. Once more, mercifully short pause at the moment, but yeah, bloke goes down. Does find the trade out onto Smile, so Soldier down a piece, and the fight continues across the point.
Yeah, this is a fight happening across the point, but it's an early kill there onto Smile. Now the Uber's traded across for both sides, just Pocket Scout versus Pocket Scout, both of them invincible. They're going to look at each other and try to open the space in the post-Uber for their demo man. Mac, surrounded by players though, is going to take the superior position at least instantly, but it is just Juno taking a lot of early damage. Andy though, however, same boat for them as they're taking once again just demo spam on demo spam on demo spam. There are fights happening in house, however, and it's an early kill hit onto left. Two very low members of Smile and Soki are going to be able to barely squeeze out alive, but this is a bit scary now. If you are the Buccaneers, right, you're down a player already, there's early enemy commitment in onto house. They can get this flank off with Sail going down as well. Suddenly you're sandwiched on enemy lines and you get taken down. There's Eon, Smile in on house. He finds one kill, doesn't quite get the second, but he is going to get out.
Really, really nice Soldier aggression. Just buying enough time, waiting for the perfect opportunity. Not could have just bombed, as soon as you got that one frag, but just allowed the combo to pressure forward, allowed everyone to just be forced a little bit back from Bloodsail, and there we go, just perfect bombs found on top of them. Mac was so thrown out of it, he had to pause the game to just kind of reset himself, I guess.
Mac is now in, straight onto Patchouli, does manage to force out that Uber. Crest is sort of averted for now. This is netting Eon about a 60 advantage, which is pretty good. It's a decent amount to work with, right? But you can see you lose 3 players, and that's going to allow Pint Gaming to set up a bit of a forwards hold now. They do have a slight lead in the time, about 10 seconds. Not too much, not as scary as last time. They don't have much time to set up for this forward hold either. It's just a straight Uber gonna come forwards eventually here. Eon eating early damage here from Alien, who actually just managed to get the cleanup kill onto Juno. This is warped on the flank as well, and this sort of push-in is going not that well for the side of the Buccaneers.
Yeah, we talked about it a bit in the pre-game, but the ballsiness of Pipe to play so aggressive in their forward hold, even at Uber disadvantage, is really paying dividends for them at the moment. Once more, Bloodsail do not find too much. They're starting to get some cap time, some pressure down now. It's easy enough for Andy to just take the beam, block it out, and now take the Uber forward for the trade.
Yep, Uber's charges pop from both teams once again. It is 2 Pocket Scouts staring at each other, invincible. Fortunately this time around, for Pint Gaming, no real teammates there to support Andy in his sort of forward positioning, trying to get space at the post-Uber. Instead, now, it's Eon standing on a bunch of stickies from Alien, who does a lot of damage there, immediately pounced on by Warp, who goes in and takes down Mac. Now, with left backed up onto the enemy pack, it just means that they could just surge forward to Pint Gaming, take control of that point. You have to counter this if you are the Buccaneers, but it's so much damage here. Just in onto Sail, who tries to lead the Uber forward. One kill to Soki is decent, but it's so hard to hold on to this now.
Yeah, still dancing around the point. Sail is now chasing forward. Just see a flood of red gamers in front of them. They have a couple of picks here, so they could really assert themselves if they went to pressure forward. But once more, both teams a little bit cautious, just playing it out, but so happy to just have control of the point, have some nice position. Juno able to just about bounce around on top of it as well, as neither team is super committing and both have Uber ready to go.
Yeah, the Uber just sent straight in onto Andy once again, this time trying to get a kill onto Mac, but Mac just eating the health back, and this is no Uber popped at all from Eon, so now the counter Uber can come out. It's flashed onto Mac, it's Silves in the air with a massive rocket onto Patchouli, and that shuts down so much of what PINT were trying to do. Andy hiding in a corner now is going to try to sneak some kind of frag onto literally anything. Just Juno onto the point, and does just barely manage to sneak the cap, but you just have to think that this is going to swing right back. Mac is playing the positioning so well, super aggressive Alien Smiley trying to make something happen as well, but this is now players respawning, and this is the Buccaneers regaining control onto that point. PINT Gaming can't really afford to give this up for that long though.
No, they absolutely can't. And once more, Silves is in, but a really nice serve from Patchouli. He's able to get to that little mini pill pack as well, keep himself alive throughout all of it. Alien Smiley's continuing to plow solo forward aggression, and they are able to at least get a lot of cap time here. It's coming very, very close, but the Uber is now out from Bloodsail. Don't think they've been countering it quite. Patchouli's not quite up to Uber. Goes down to 45 health.
Oh my god!
Chasing him down and gets the pistol kill.
That's such a risky play there, but they just barely have enough time to just send in Juno at the very end, take down that medic. There is still cap time though for the red team onto this point. They have to get onto it instantly. You can see the bomb surging forwards onto Mac, and they wrest control off this point, at least for now. It has not gone quite yet. Left has to back off onto the point, and Wolf could just barely sneak this cap. Players are up for PINT, but they cannot let go of this point. I think we need our overtime here. It's 3 seconds left for both sides. Early spam taken though by Eon, once again caught out by some stickies from Alien, but this is a very nice bomb forwards from left. Does a lot of damage. No team falling, but it is just PINT winning the fight once again, and they come out on top 2-0.
Wow, I thought it was over for the round with that frag onto Patchouli, but you know, Juno committed super deep. They expended so many resources there, Bloodsail, just to get that medic frag, and ended up neither medic was able to get an Uber at the end of the round. So the crucial thing was PINT just kind of reset themselves, just got themselves ready to go in the fight, win the team fight, and were able to once more cap the round out and get it a second round now.
I like the aggression, the idea of going in to try and get onto Patchouli, but it just ended up costing them around, you have to feel like, right? You send in so many resources for that, but the point's still capped. Super nice from PINT to recognize they can just send it onto the point. They managed to win the fight. And so now, once again, back onto middle. Early sort of spam coming across. Early damage. Mac just taken down. Eats some scout meat shots. And this is now no demo for the side of the Buccaneers. So much harder to hold on to. You can see the position already lacking. Left has the bomb forwards. Does decent damage there onto Attitude as well. And I think somehow, some way, the Buccaneers were winning the fight until Warpbound 2. He's going to get in onto Eon. Early damage dealt as well. Left wants to come in with a counter bomb, but I don't think he's going to get it warped. It's just in onto Eon and drops him as well.
Unfortunate there for Eon, just didn't have a scout there to support him. Warped was just right on top of him there and was able to fight. I don't know exactly whether he quite, I mean, I guess it was a drop. I don't know exactly whether he could have popped or not to save himself.
It was a drop. Like, no, wait. Yeah. It was just barely a drop.
Yeah.
He like had like for a little bit, just barely didn't pop it in time. Patchouli just popping off the Uber now, but once again, it's a dead Eon. You're trading 2 for it, however. Soki, Alien, Smiley, Warped, all dying. As they lose 2, comes out. Patchouli still alive in a precarious position here. Sail trying to 1v3, but there's no real teammates to support him. So the cap is going to go across. I think we might slow down a little bit for now, but Mac, nice little 2k there. He's spawn camping. I didn't notice this at all. He's stuck in behind though. Surely he dies. There's like 10 players. Okay, there we go. Mac is dead. Big advantage here for Patchouli, but players are not there, and the spam from Silves and from Leth is doing big work in sort of keeping the enemy team away.
Yeah, they're not exactly sure what's going on point game side. You know, they go forward, they take the Uber, they take Eon out. They think that's about it, but just so many Bloodsail players behind. Eventually, they've been cleaned up
Oh!
now.
He dies to the pavement. Unlucky. Really, really nice stuff there from Pachulia. He was 98, by the way. Both soldiers had him in the air, both going for the air shots. Didn't quite find him, but in the meantime, complete chaos ensues behind as the rest of PINT surge forward to the death of their medic, trying to sort of salvage a kill onto Eon. Staying alive, however. That means that they're going to be able to regain control of this point. Warped with a final little bomb onto Eon. He surfs it quite well, but just gets the pop-off anyway. Huge bomb in there from Warped.
Yeah, I don't think Eon exactly spotted where Warped was. I don't think either of the scouts did as well, so absolutely clutch play, finding the force despite so many players on the hunt to shut him down. And they are going to set up a bit of a hold here. Bloodsail still quite a while before Pachulia has that Uber up, and Mac is actually just shutting players down on this concrete side. They're just going to bust through. Actually, they've got so many frags by gaming. The chase is on, and oh my god, everyone's just being eviscerated by Andy.
Yeah, they just completely destroyed them there out of nowhere. Just absolute nuke. Dropping the hammer to the alien and just followed up so beautifully there by Andy, who's having a worldy of a game so far. Already all the way up to 60 points, which I assume means many, many kills and many, many damage dealt. As a forward hold now ensued for the side of PINT Gaming. Time is still relatively even here, but Leth just eats a really early rocket there as he tries to bump forwards, getting into the Pachulia. It's a lot of damage dealt, however. Smile quite low as well. Both soldiers have to back off here if you are PINT, at least for now, just out of respect for the damage you've taken. But Mac, unfortunately, unable to find any damage. This is a sack forwards, unsuccessful. With a minute now left on the clock, map point here for the side. PINT Gaming, they're dealing with the sniper from left, doesn't find anything.
Yeah, struggling a little bit, Bloodsail, with breaking this forward hold. You know, they just tried to send the two soldiers in through that lower, but were not able to find it. Both soldiers going down super early. Only a little bit of space made for the rest of the team, and they having to fight 4v6, never ideal. They're just going to come in through this kind of central main door as it is, and actually don't have to pop until quite late. Really nicely milked there by Eon. Junu is going to take the Uber forward now with Sao. Both scouts in tandem, just focusing the damage down. The bomb is though in from Warp, does find Sao in the meantime, but with Warp and Soki both going down, there's going to be PINT backing up.
Sos has a really nice flank here onto the enemy team. They can completely sandwich them. You can see that spam comes across. It's not going to result in any kills, but it just forces out PINT completely. And this is now a Bloodsail Buccaneers team that need to play the clock. They have to slow this down, and they're choosing to do so with aggression. Early kill onto Andy, early kill there onto Smiley, as it is his Warp to going down as well. One Smile bombs forwards, gets the kill onto Leth, but if that's all you get from a play like that, this is completely fine for the Buccaneers. Once again, you just have to run down the clock now. They're trying to set up a forward hold, but this is an even Uber forward hold, and they don't really have all of their plays to set it up either. This gets a bit scary here, and you have to keep your players alive.
Really nice kiting of the aggression, but it's all down to Silves at the moment on this concrete side. Max there now to support him. He's been able to rotate.
Oh my god, Pachulia just in a minefield there, has to navigate it. Mac stickies all around him, but not on top of him. That means he manages to live 100%. Now both teams, it's dragged across there by Junu, who takes the Uber initiative, gets that forwards, and now trying to find any sort of kills on the backline. But instead, it's Eon called out in this house. Junu finds one meat shot, but is just going to pay for his medic's positioning's life. And that means that now it is PINT Gaming re-aggressing across. 20 seconds for both sides, but it is just the Bloodsail Buccaneers falling in this fight. It's only 20 seconds left, and if you're losing this fight, all of a sudden, timer goes from bad to worse here. You have to aggress in now with 10 seconds left on the clock, or you lose. Early damage dealt onto Alien is Smile quite low as well, but with 4 seconds now, you have to bomb in. You can see the soldiers sending it onto the point. Pachulia is low. He doesn't have to pop, but that is a disconnect coming in from Eon, and that's going to spell the end of Bagel. 3-0, 3 very close rounds, but all 3 of them going the sound of PINT. And now both teams coming out of this with 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. It's even as you could have wanted. And as you say, you know, very good contest across both maps, and you know, definitely some of those rounds on Bagel could have gone the other way, but it was 3-0, and think Pint, they do look very strong on that map, and there was certainly, just a few spells here and there where Bloodsail couldn't quite find their way through that forward hold quickly enough or cleanly enough, weren't quite as strong as their opponents on this map, I feel, and kind of punished for it. So good stuff from both sides, but really kind of enjoyed the contest between these two sides.
Yeah, that was really nice. I was sort of very impressed by the quality of the game as well. You sort of look at both of these teams, and I think at least for me, I would consider them sort of a tier below the Frenchies and the Maggots, and sort of definitely not on the Witness level. But I think really here, both teams really showed that I think they play pretty good TF2 overall. This is not sort of where you're looking at it and sort of overall saying that they're making a lot of really big crucial mistakes. They're both very willing to play off the aggression and the sort of smaller advantages as well, which is what you love to see in TF2 nowadays. And this is setting up for some very exciting games come late into the season, right? You have to imagine we're already sort of halfway through the season at this point, Dave, and every point matters. In this case, I don't know if there's any lore masters in chat that can tell us what the playoff format is. I think we would love to know. You have some logs on the screen, of course, and what you'll see is Andy had himself a worldy of a game there. Smile right there with him as well. And wow, really kudos to both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think after week one, we'd kind of really been singing Andy's praises. He's clearly the kind of talisman of this team, the real powerhouse that puts that forward momentum in. But certainly on today's showing, Smile really standing up and showing that he can mix it with the best of them, putting up huge numbers across both maps, tons of damage, over 400 on this second map of Bagel. And, even it is obviously a little bit faster paced when you are playing Koth. You are constantly forced to that timer, other than on those kind of slowish mid fights. But even so, outdoing anyone on the opposing side, and only that kind of star scout of Andy putting up a little bit more damage as well. So overall, point gaming looking very, very solid on this map.
I think for me, one thing that you have to remember, right, is we're going to see these guys play at LAN. If they play like this online, I cannot wait to see what happens when these guys get in person as well. Just the extra sort of tension, the extra aggression coming out. I'll be in for a very, very good showing. Because, of course, guys, at the end of this season, we will be going to a bit of a LAN. But before we even ever think about LAN in Stuttgart at the end of November, we of course have the rest of the season to play. We have another game coming up this week as well, a really big one at that. I think it's a rematch of what has been for the last little while the team to contest Witness the best. The Frenchies playing up against Witness, of course, here on Sunday. And that's going to be a very, very good game as well.
Yep, two former Prem winners for sure, arguably the two strongest sides as well this season. So really looking forward to that. I'll be on the cast. I think it's Tomato joining me, as far as I know. So that should be a good one. So make sure you're tuning in on Sunday, guys. But aside from that, any last words from you, Wondom?
I have 5 different members of my World of Warcraft guild spam messaging me to please say their names, so I'm going to say none of them. And I'm going to let the world know that they think they're really good at Classic World of Warcraft because they cleared Ragefire Chasm with full world buffs. And do with that information what you will.
I have no idea what that means, but I guess shout out to Mango Store for supporting the season. And big shout out for Ben as well, coming in ill, but coming in at the last minute to fill in for JMax, who had exploded, as you said earlier on. So, yeah, thank you, Wondom. Thank you, Ben. And we'll see you on Sunday, guys.